welcome back to MCFC Connect. Today we are talking about the big game that we've got coming up tomorrow. It's season defining, really, as the thumbnail points out. You know, it really is a huge game for City. You know, it's Kevin De Bruyne's last chance at silverware. It's our chance to salvage this season. There's so much on the line, you know. Top 5 and a trophy for a drop-off season. Not bad at all, if you ask me. But we've got to do that first. Now, the first thing I want to say is we cannot underestimate Crystal Palace. You know, and I don't think anyone is. Okay, I think we're all taking this seriously, as we should. Because if we have a look at City's matches, our previous matches specifically, should we have a look? We played Palace not long ago. Depending on where I can find it. Crystal Palace, here we go. Now, it was a 5-2 match, okay? But it really doesn't show how good Palace were in that opening half an hour. Before KDB scored his goal, Palace had scored 2 and they had the ball in the back of the net for a third time, but it was called offside. Okay, they could have been 3-0 up in half an hour. And for me, we can't afford to rely on Palace losing their heads to get back into this game. Okay, we can't afford to hope for that, to be honest. Alfred earlier, big ups, appreciate it. But yeah, we can't afford on such luck. Well, I mean, it's more than luck, you know. City got their act together, whatnot. You know, we had chances earlier on in the game, we just didn't take them. But we can't afford anything like that. If you get chances early in the game, like Palace did here, we need to take them. You know, we cannot be 2-0 down in 21 minutes again to Palace. You know, and we can't have a third goal in the back of the net. Fabrizio, not tier 1. Reported a 15 million bid for Rangers will be submitted for Rangers. Yeah, I did see that we are submitting a bid very soon for more than 50 million for Rangers. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. Hopefully, maybe it gets accepted, but yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. It is big news, though. We'll talk about some news, and also I'm on Blue Friday show in 40 minutes, so if you want to hear about my thoughts on that as well, then feel free to tune in, because we'll probably touch on it. But yeah, look, 21 shots to Palace's 8, 9 shots to Palace's 3. Now, a couple of things to bear in mind. We're at the Etihad in this game, which means we had more fans in than Palace did, but also, and it does go to contribute, you know. This is such a big game for Palace. They're going to be up for it more than you believe. You know, they are going to be so up for it, you know, beyond belief. If Pep starts to direct energetic players that contribute to the attack, Marmoush, O'Reilly, Nunes, Savinho, Doku, then we will be fine. If we get Wing, Bernardo, or Foden, we're going to waste 70 minutes. For me, here's a few things that I want to say. For me, I think Akanji should be in this 11, but I don't think he should be in over Nico Riley, Vardio, or Diaz. I think that you should, on paper, put him in at the right back role. Okay, but then when City are on the ball, Nico Riley is going to progress forward somewhat into the midfield, and then these three will become back three. When I saw those goals against Palace, we looked so exposed to them. Okay, I think the extra body can help. I genuinely do. I think having that extra body is good. I know Rico, it's not necessarily his fault what happened with those goals, but again, I just think having that extra guy in that defense will help keep things tight. We got to keep it tight. Otherwise, we could end up in a messy spot. Now I'm just gonna get this up. Again, let me know who you want to see on the starting 11, by the way. I'm curious. Of course, you've just mentioned how you want to see Doku, Savinio, Marmouche, and I do agree with you for most of those. I think we will need those if we want to win. Just guessing a couple things bang on. There we go. Akanji would give me confidence of Eze and Mateus, and we'd sacrifice Nunez attacking contributions, but if we have proper wingers on the right, City will be fine. Yeah, again, I don't think us losing Nunez, for example, is the end of the world. Or Rico, even, okay? Whoever either. I don't think it's the end of the world for City. I don't think we're going to crumble because of it. Okay, but I genuinely believe tightening it up at the back is going to help. Okay, against Palace last time, we were so exposed on counters and whatnot when they were on top for that time, and we just looked a sham. I don't think it needs to be that way this time, though. Vardio's been performing so well at left centre back. I don't think you should take him out. And O'Reilly, I think, has been doing a fine job as well. And look, O'Reilly did mess up a little bit last time against Crystal Palace. But you see, let's say O'Reilly's here. Okay, he's been beat. Okay, and Nunez is up here. Suddenly it's just these two. If you've got Kanji back, okay, you could set up like that and it keeps it so much more tight. You cover your box so much more better on counters. In my opinion, anyway, I think that would really, really work and could really help the performance. Move everyone back. Now then, up top, it's going to be Haaland, to be fair. Probably. Marmouche, I suspect, will be. I want him on the left. I think we genuinely do need Omar Marmouche in this game. I think he's too good to not have. You know, you saw against Crystal Palace what happened. No, you saw against Southampton when we didn't have him. Again, what does he come do when he comes on? He goes and hits the crossbar. You know, on another day, he scored a last-minute winner for us. I feel like City haven't been effective on the right since Walker and Mahrez, so we might as well go for defensively solid. You know what? That's a good point. We have struggled a little bit in terms of creativity since Mahrez left. You know, last season, I know Phil Foden was kind of on the wing, but he was very much at the 10 and was really central and was really cooking in that area. So I wouldn't really count it as Phil Foden taking up that right-hand side. Walker gone too, it has been a bit different. So yeah, you might as well tie it up at the back solidly. I know Pep likes to overload it with midfielders, but look, if you're really feeling ambitious on the ball, dependent on the situation you're in, Akanji has pushed up into midfield a bit to help. I'm not saying Akanji stay at the back and don't do anything else. You can push forward a little bit, but ultimately your defensive duties are where you lie. Those are where the majority of your responsibilities are, in my opinion. I think you need De Bruyne. I watched the highlights for the past game. I think De Bruyne looked like the one guy that was trying to make something. Again, Haaland, no service. We can't afford that. If Haaland gets no service, we're asking for trouble. We genuinely are. Okay, we are genuinely asking for Palace to come over and really pepper us. Can both push it? Exactly. Okay, I'm not saying Akanji sit at the back, do nothing, wait for the attacks. Push into midfield, but having someone that's a bit more defensively minded, because you got to remember, Mateus Nunes is a midfielder, or was. Okay, Mateus Nunes is a midfielder. Again, like I said, was. And Rico Lewis, in my opinion, is a midfielder. Okay, he's played a majority of his minutes at right back, but he is a midfielder. Akanji, he can do those little bits of going forward a bit, but the main thing is that he will be more defensively minded and will know what to do in certain situations. He'll have the maturity to deal with it. KDB starting yet doesn't get offered a reduced wage contract. Makes me very worried if we don't get Wirtz or 2-8s like Rangers or Gibbs White. That we got to put everything into getting Wirtz. Okay, we got to do everything in our power to make that transfer happen. And the only time I want to see City give up on that is when he's holding up a different shirt. That's the only time I want to see us pull out. Now then, so got the pivot to do now, and you've got the right wing. You see, I would say this for the right wing, Savinho, but at the same time, Savinho, I don't know if I could bear watching Savinho getting a big chance on the right wing and fumbling it, because Savinho on the right is more likely to shoot, Savinho on the left is more likely to cross. Okay, that's why I quite like Savinho on the left. But I don't know if I could bear to watch him miss a huge chance, or whether I back him, because he doesn't play bad on the right. It's just in those big moments where he gets a big opportunity, he just fumbles it somehow. You know, I don't know if it's just he hasn't got it this season, or maybe it's just that's going to be his thing, but he just misses a lot. In goal, by the way, I'm going Ortega. I don't think anyone else is going to play there. I think it's pretty clear that it will be Ortega. This is meant to be orange. Sort that out real quick. Yeah, but now then for the pivot. I'm just trying to think what I want. I think Nico G would be really nice. I don't know why, but I'm liking that. I don't know. Doku right wing, yes. Rodri starting. I don't know. I don't know if I want to rush that. Would have him cross rather than cut in. True, but he'll hold it for Haaland far post. Marmish and Riley drift into the box. Nico G would be great, but Pep ain't playing him, unfortunately. I know. You know that is the thing. Hull City sacked our manager for keeping us up. Blinking at glimpse. It's like you're asking for trouble. I mean, look, if Rodri's fully fit and like he's like going to be fine, you know, he's fully fit, he's match ready. For me, I'd still stay clear. You know, I think he's going to be on the bench tomorrow. To be honest, I think he's going to be on the bench. But I don't think he'll start. Sacked 4 managers in 13 months. Wow, that's quite the record. That's my 11. If I was Pep, maybe the only thing I'm unsure of is Savinho. You did quite rightly mention if it was starting Doku. For me, I just worry about Doku because Doku, okay, he could have a wonderful game. Genuinely, he could have a fantastic game and could be one of the big reasons why we win tomorrow. Or he could drop an incredible stinker and loses the ball return, and it's just frustrating to watch. That is the kind of player for me that Doku is. He can have a great game, or he can have a poor game. It's really a flip of a coin with Doku. You know, you just got to take the gamble and hope. Too many risks for both team and player, given the stakes Rodri's time out. Even if Rodri's fit, I don't see him start maybe 10 minutes at the end. Yeah, it just depends on how the game's going. I don't want him to be thrown into a tense game like this. off the back of coming back from an ACL. I don't think this is the game for it. Maybe against Bournemouth. You can, depending on how the game goes, if we're like winning comfortably, you can bring him on and near the end, and like you'll get a nice clap from the crowd and whatnot. But for me, I'd steer him clear of tense situations. Better than the rest of our wingers this season, even if he has a lot to prove. Yeah, true. Wingers haven't been our strong suit this season, have they? I get where you're coming from there. That does make a lot of sense. Yeah. Big up to everyone that's tuning in, by the way. We've got 8 people in here. Just leave a comment on the stream. 10 likes. Wow, big ups. But yeah, this is a huge game tomorrow. Palace are a very good team. I'm not underestimating them. I really do want us to give it everything we got. But I think this is the 11. Maybe the only thing I could see switching is the wingers and the pivot. And maybe Nico Riley goes on bench, Vardy left back, these 2 centre-backs and someone on the right back. But this is what I would go for. Again, the only thing I would personally change is Doku. Well, I mean, maybe, It's just unsure. Someone banned Haaland from social media posts until he learns how to run near post. Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. Oh. Well, that covers the predicted 11. Now then, I'm not even going to pop a score prediction on it. I don't want to even have the slightest chance of what's the word, jinxing it. I really don't. I don't want the slightest chance. Realistically, Bernardo Gundo are going to be in this lineup. If they can't break down Southampton, they'll somehow break down Palace in a final. Well, yeah, I can see that. I really want Kova in here because I think Kova driving the ball forward will be good. Also, Kova's actually got a goal output. No offense to some of these players. I think Kova's like our 3rd top scorer, by the way, this season, which is kind of crazy considering he's got like 6 or 7 goals. Marmoush is one of our best scorers. Haaland is, obviously, Kova's up there. Doku's not too bad. And too bad, Nico O'Reilly's not bad in front of goal as well. Nico G and De Bruyne, not so much. De Bruyne has scored a couple recently, but I think overall the whole season, I think he's got like 4 goals or something. And no, I don't really just expect my defenders to, but to be fair, Vardy has come up with them before, scored in the semi-final. With Edison, long balls have become an option for Haaland if we're countering after a set piece or a drive from Mateta Reze. Yeah, true, but I think this is going to be Ortega because he's kind of been the cup keeper, and Pep doesn't tend to switch his cup keeper out for the final game. But yeah, that's my predicted 11. In terms of overall transfer news, because I would like to touch on that. There's been so much recently. I want to get streaming. I might do a stream tomorrow earlier on, doing the transfer news. I might actually do that. I think I might put a poll for it. Because I genuinely want to talk about transfer news. I would, but I'm on Blue Friday show in 25 minutes. So, to be fair, you're going to see me talk about that. This isn't the last time you see of me. But, yeah, I would like to talk about that on here too. But, anyway, big up someone that tuned in. I'm not going to stop yet. I think we'll talk about the press conference real quick as well. Pep Guardiola late for his conference. Fitness for last week, same fitness for the cup final as the same as last week. Fantastic team, more than a year of Oliver Glasner working with the same players. So it's final of the FA Cup. It's an honour and a privilege, the 3rd time being there. We have to perform well when we travel to London to win the title. Pace and quality. When they're a threat, it's because they have quality long balls. Mateta strong, and after the quality with Eze is obvious. And of course, pace with Sarr, they punished them. Aston Villa a lot. Incredible pace. Munoz Wharton is a really good holding midfielder. Links play well. Just giving Palace their due diligence. That's the problem, right? FA Cup is not the first choice. Of course, we want it. Once we have it, of course we want it. Once we are here, we want to lift it. Of course, it's massively important. It was a disappointment last season in the final for our performance, but I'm pretty sure we'll perform well, and we're going to compete against them. It's important, definitely. But to win a trophy, you have to be there, and to be there, you have to win previous games, and we have done that for many years. Rodri, much better. I'm waiting for the doctors. They'll tell me when he's ready. He's going to start. We don't want to take a risk and take a setback in this moment. Yeah, that's fair. Again, just reaffirming how we don't want to get Rodri injured again. Now's not the time to talk about that before the final. I have 24 exceptional players. I'm not going to talk about 1 second about the future. That's fair. I want to say thank you to City fans that are coming to London, and that is the end of it. There you go. Again, pretty tame comments, gave Palace their praises, and they deserve it. They've been pretty solid under Oliver Glasner. He's a pretty solid coach, to be fair to him. Heart attacks per minute prediction, 12 point butt clenching per 91,000. What's your stream schedule, by the way? I don't really have a specific schedule, but tomorrow I might go live at like midday. And oh wait, no, I can't. I've got work. I completely forgot I've got work tomorrow. I'm gonna obviously make it for the FA Cup final, but yeah, I can't go live midday. There you go. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna have to talk about transfer news on Sunday. It feels like like years away, but by Sunday I'll know whether I'm happy about the FA Cup final or not. But anyway, guys, big ups to everyone. If you do want to see more of me tonight, want to see more viewpoints and whatnot, I'm going to be live on the Blue Friday show in about 20 minutes with Alpha Varka and the Not in My Lifetime podcast, Luke. So make sure to tune in, guys. Really do appreciate the support as per usual. I'll link that stream in a post. So keep your eyes on the community post on the channel. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you all there. Big ups to everyone. Make sure to subscribe, like the stream, and to not miss the next one, turn on the notification bell. See you all, guys.